Okay, so the first big thing that I did was to make sure that the service was properly set up so that we could get Active Directory installed. One of the first things I did was change the host name. As you can see, it has been properly configured as per your instructions. Sorry about that. And as for the time zone, that has also been properly configured as per your instructions. I also went ahead for the second big step to install Active Directory and domain services. This meant getting services such as these, getting the domain controller, getting the Active Directory domain controller, Active Directory domain. These are all the commands that you gave on eClass. Get Active Directory forest and get SMB share. You can pause and have a look at those to ensure that those are properly done. But from my understanding, those indicated that they were properly installed. As for making sure that the DNS of the server is pointing to itself, you can see that the DNS server is pointing to 127.0.0.1, which, if I'm not mistaken, ensures that the DNS is going to be pointing to itself for DNS requests. So that should be done correctly. Okay, so then third big step is to configure the Windows 10 client. Now, one of the things we did was to update the DNS settings for this Windows 10 machine so that it's actually using our Windows Server for DNS. You can see that over here with the DNS servers being configured to the IP address of our Windows Server. And you can even see for the primary DNS suffix and for the DNS suffix search list that Active Directory name is there. Now, the next thing that we want to look at is to basically show that OpenSense has been configured to use our Windows Server for our DNS for DNS purposes. So that confirms that. And as for making sure that the domain that this Windows 10 client has joined the domain, we have here that the domain is currently part of ks1c.local, which again, of course, is the name of our of the domain that I created earlier. But I did configure the Windows server so that people within my group would be able to remote into the Windows server. I have already remoted from my Windows 11 client to the Windows server. And as you can see, Case1C, which is the name of my domain, is part of the possible remote desktop users. And I also confirmed it here by running this command net local group remote desktop users, and Case1C is listed as one of the members in this group that are granted the right to log on remotely. Final step where we create the domain user, server manager, is properly installed. As you can see, I forgot to show that when confirming that I installed Active Directory and domain services properly, but server manager with ADC editor along with Active Directory users and computer is here. But I'll also show that in fact I have properly added myself as a user. So if you just look here, there's Karan, Swansea, and yeah, that should pretty much be it. Okay, one last thing which I nearly forgot to show was that I did also finish the lab documentation right here. I just go through the steps that I did and whatever command line PowerShell commands that I used to basically accomplish the lab, and also the specific commands that I was supposed to use or figured out I could use in order to show that I did in fact properly configure things. So this is the lab and it is pretty much complete.